Maher, it's wonderful to see you. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Fantastic. So I know you quite well, actually. So I'm going to enjoy this. This is lovely. So what makes you unique is that you are not only an innovation expert, but you are an innovator yourself. And as an innovator and an innovation expert, what's the problem that you solve for people?
Well, Maria, companies nowadays are facing a lot of challenges. We're going to talk about three of them, which are uncertainty, employees' engagement, and growth. You cannot reach growth if you don't have a vision, if you don't have a direction, how to cope with the new normal. And you cannot grow if your employees are not engaged. I was reading an article that around 53 or 54% of the US employees are willing to resign from their jobs, noting that most of them did not find a job yet. So here we're again talking about employee engagement. So what we do is that we come and help organizations engage their employees with the methodology and the interactive app that we have. We help them cope with uncertainty so they can grow even if they are still facing all the challenges that they are facing. So when they have a roadmap, a clear roadmap, what to do with innovation, because that's the problem again with uncertainty. Some of the companies and organizations, they decided that they need to implement innovation, but they don't know where to start and what to do next. So when they see that we have a clear roadmap and a clear vision in line with their needs, then they can cope easily with uncertainty. They know where they are going, and what are the results that they're going to achieve.
And why is innovation so important, would you say?
Because one of the things is that digital transformation is transforming the world. That's one thing. Pandemic as well, economic challenges, high competition. So if you keep on doing what you have been doing for the last years, in the coming 2-3 years, you might be out of the market. So you need to sit down, think how you need to reinvent your business. How can you, in fact, reinvent your business, whether it is your business model, your processes, new products, new services, new events, you name it. So in order to be ready to cope with what we all call the new normal, that's one thing. Two, competition is so high that you cannot make it out in the market if you're not competitive. The client nowadays is well informed and they can have everything online. They don't even need to come to your offices and branches. So if you're not competitive, I mean, even highly competitive, you cannot really cope with the competition. So with all the challenges that we're talking about, that makes innovation a top priority, where you need to sit down and not when I say sit down, I'm not talking only about the leadership team. I'm not only talking about the senior management. Even the middle management should sit with their employees and think how they can reinvent their processes, their work, their business model to come up with something that is really attractive to the client.
Okay, cool. That's brilliant. You mentioned earlier on that you have a model that you use. I think you call it a change model. Could you explain what that is, what it consists of?
That's what we do, and that is the differentiation that we have compared to other innovation consultant or trainer, because as you know, I'm not only a speaker, I'm a consultant and trainer. Companies, when they call us, and they are, in that uncertainty, and that dark, they want to implement innovation, but they don't know how to do it and where to start. They need to see something crystal clear, like a roadmap, like steps that would guide them towards implementing innovation. So they need to see something tangible. It's not a question of telling them, you need to think out of the box, you need to come up with ideas. This will not make things happen. Noting that most of the leadership and leaders in the world were sharing with me that they spend a lot of money on innovation programs. I'm talking about implementing innovation. I'm not talking about speeches mainly, where they didn't find a real tangible result. So they said, we spent money, we brought consulting companies, we made few workshops, we didn't see a lot of ideas, or we saw ideas that never saw the light, that never happened. So our change model is that by inventing throughout the years and by implementing innovation, I came up with an innovation model that I called the Become an Innovator. So the Become an Innovator is built on 3 pillars: the innovation mindset, and we really tell you what is the needed or required mindset to become an innovator. And on top of that, you are required as an employee in a company to do weekly acts so we can see that you are taking initiatives and that you are trying. 2, it is built on the Innovators Tool, the app that I have invented that is very engaging. It's built on music. It's built on sound effects recorded in studios. It's built on 4D videos. So the metaverse, so if you wear the VR gear, you are in the metaverse that now we are talking about. We have done this, by the way, in 2018, 2019. And the world now is talking about the metaverse. And it is built on the 3rd pillar, which is the 4 habits that we have discovered throughout our years of experience. So if you apply the innovator's mindset, the innovator's tool, and you live the habits, you will definitely become an innovator. And when I say become an innovator, people tend to think that I'm talking about a very big promise. If we're talking about corporations, then here I'm talking about employees, simple employees, who just have to spot areas of improvement, like their daily work. How can they improve their daily work? Like, make their processes more efficient, less cost, less time, and try to reinvent it. So we're not talking always about a huge, new, tremendous technology. We're just telling the employees, look at your daily work, spot areas of improvement, apply the methodology, apply it on the app, and come up with ideas of improvement. As simple as that. And that's what I call the simplified innovation. Because my purpose and my aim, Maria, was to democratize innovation, make it simple and accessible to everybody, even a small employee in a corporation.
I like that. Simplified, democratized innovation. I think that's a really great phrase. And I love the fact that you've made it very simple. So you've got you need your innovation mindset, you need the innovation tool, and you have an app for it, which even includes the metaverse, which is amazing from already. So you're ahead of the curve, and the 4 habits. Can you tell us what those 4 habits are?
Yeah. First of all, you need to have an exploring mindset and culture. You need to be curious, to explore new possibilities so that you can unlock new opportunities. Another one is perseverance, because usually when you start exploring something, sometimes you don't get the results that you want. So you feel down. You feel that I have been trying and it didn't work. I have been trying to achieve something, but I didn't reach the point that I want. So you will feel that you will never reach what you wanted to reach. That's why you need the perseverance. You need to be motivated so that you can pursue what you have been doing. And this 2nd habit is called passion. So we call it passion. The 3rd habit is listening and observing. And why it is listening and observing? Because out of experience for the last 20 to 30 years, and talking to innovators, that's how we found the innovators habit. We found a common ground. That is, most of innovators, by listening and by observing, they unlock new ideas. So when we used to tell people, we want you to be creative. We want you to come up with ideas. A lot of them used to tell me, you know, Maher, I work in the accounting department. So how gonna be creative? I'm not a creative person. I work in the boring industry. I'm in the IT or I'm in the accounting department. And you want me to come up with ideas, to create ideas. So when we came and told them that ideas are there, you just need to unlock them. They said, oh, that's good. That might be useful. That we can do. But how? So then we told them, by listening and observing what's happening all around you, you will be stimulated, your brain will be stimulated, and you will come up with ideas. So, and when I say listening and observing, the problem is that most of us are not really listening and observing. And I can tell you, Maria, that during a day, during our 24 hours, there are millions of things and ideas happening in front of us, but we are not capturing them. So we have discovered that creative confidence is not only about telling ourselves, I can do it. That's important. Creative confidence is about knowing how to capture ideas that are all around us. So we teach people how to listen and observing. And we have exercises coming from my musical background where we play intervals so people can really get a better listening and a better observing. And then we close their eyes and we play something and they have to tell us, what is it? Is it a minor scale? Is it a major scale? So this is coming from my musical background. So that's how we strengthen and make people listen and observe better. And by the way, before tackling the fourth habit, I think schools, I think universities should add a module about listening and observing. That's how humanity will get better and better and better. That's how human beings can become more empathetic. They can empathize, they can connect with people by listening and observing better. So I go back to the fourth habit, which is taking initiatives. Because if you have a beautiful idea and you never take initiatives, nothing will happen. It will always be there as an idea and only an idea. And that's the majority cases that we face. We see a lot of innovators that have brilliant ideas, but either they are afraid to share it with their top management, or they think that their ideas are not good enough. Out of experience, Maria, even me, who has been innovating for years and years, almost on a daily basis, I can tell you that I never had a brilliant idea from day one. It was always a vision, like a small drop of water, and then I was refining it, and then launched it and made version 1, like the app. The app that you can see is version 3 now. So we have been doing version 1, version 2, version 3. We still have 2 more versions and we get feedback. And it is by implementing your idea when the user can really try it, then they can tell you what is good and what is not good. So don't be afraid to take initiatives and to launch your ideas. Even if your idea fail, you will learn from it. You will be in a better shape.
Absolutely. So to sum up, those 4 habits then are to be curious, to persevere with passion, yes, to listen and observe, and to take initiatives. And actually, you know, that when you said about the listening and observing, I know that I can zone in and out of stuff, especially when I'm listening to my man, which is really naughty. I hope he's not listening to this.
Yeah, we hope so.
Because sometimes he goes so deep and complex, you know, he's got brain the size of a planet, and it's like, I can't follow this. And I do love that idea of teaching, you know, at school and university, teaching you to listen and be curious, because you're right, we do need to be more empathetic. It's so clear after what we've all been through. That's fantastic, amazing. I love that. That's like a masterclass in an answer. And you're quite modest, actually, Maher, because I know that you have, okay, it may have started from a small drop, but you have made some incredible innovations yourself. And one of those innovations was when you were in retail banking and marketing. Tell us a little bit about that, about some of the innovations you brought into the marketplace.
You know, Maria, I have worked for the banking sector for 20 years. 13 years out of the 20, I was head of retail banking and marketing. So, you know, that's a leadership role. And one day during lunch break, I was sitting on my balcony. I had a small balcony in my house and having lunch. And an idea crossed my mind. Maher, that's how you want to live your life? You just want to be a number? How many head of retail and marketing in the world there are? And I thought like thousands, 100,000 of head of retails and marketing. And then I said to myself, is this what I want? A big office with hundreds of employees under me, directly or indirectly, with a big title? Was I born just to sit in this chair and to tell people that I am a senior director with a big package? Or I was born here to impact the world? I said, what if I was never promoted? Would I want to do the same thing that I'm doing now for years? And the answer, because I'm a crazy guy, was no. Maher, you should do something about it. So when an innovator wants to do something, they don't know really what they want to do, but they know that they need to do something. And this is about agility before, you know, pursuing my story. Agility, Maria, is about accepting that when you start working on an idea, you don't have all the answers and you don't know where you're going. All of my ideas, when I started them, I didn't know that we will reach that point. I have the feeling that it's going to be brilliant, but I didn't know that it's going to reach that point. So agility is about accepting that we don't have all the answers when we start an idea. And this is the uncertainty. When you start working on an idea, the level of uncertainty is that much. But then the more you execute and implement, it goes down. So I said, no, that's not what I want to do. I need to do something about it. So I started thinking. I was living in Lebanon, and I said, the best thing to do is to research something that has affected consumer behavior. And unfortunately, in Lebanon, it's the war. The war has been since 1975, so more than 40 years. And I was almost sure that living in a country facing war for more than 40 years, seeing your relatives dying in front of you, would have affected our consumer behavior. And I said, what do you think, Maher? And that's the mistake that all of us will do, because we think that we can just get answers like this. Do you think because we were stressed for 40 years, now we are consuming a lot more? Because Lebanese people spend a lot of money. I said, probably yes. And that's the mistake we do. We should never answer. We should go talk to the client, talk to the user. And I said, do you think, Maher, that because we were in the shelters for several years, now we want to live more, and that's why Lebanese people dress well, eat, buy big cars, live in big flats, because they don't know when they're going to die? And then I said, yes. I said, stop answering. I was talking to myself, Maher, stop answering your questions. Go ask the client. Do what Professor Philip Kotler said. Go spot needs, search, and listen to the customer. And by doing the research, I found, Maria, that 18.7%, so almost 19% of the Lebanese couples cannot conceive without medical assistance. So I said, is this a high number or is it acceptable? So I went and searched all over the world at that time, because I'm talking 2006, so 15, 16 years back. The infertility rate was a 1 digit. So 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9%. In 1 or 2 countries, 11 or 12%. We were talking about 19%. So I said, that's a big number. Let me see what people are doing now. And we went and asked people, if you needed infertility treatment now and you didn't have the means, what would you do? And all of them said, We talk to our parents, we talk to our friends, and we get the money from them. Because in Lebanon, you still live in your parents' house till you get married. We're not like Europe. And even when we're married, on a weekly basis, we go and spend time in our house where we were born. So the first persons that they thought about was their father, mother, brother, or sister. So we asked, would you go to a bank? Said, no, banks don't grant fertility loans. They grant personal loan. They grant housing loan. They grant car loans. So we've asked the insurance companies, do you support infertility? They said, no. We went to the government, said, do you support infertility treatments? They said, no, it's not important. So, so I've discovered that no one is supporting these guys. And in my country, in Lebanon, especially at that time, when you reach the age of 30, 35, if you're not married, so people will start telling you, your relative and friends, you've reached that age and you're not married? There's something fishy. There's a problem. You don't want to have your own family? You don't want to see your kids running in front of you? So they start putting pressure on you. We're not like the West, you know, a different culture. So it's a very important topic. So by finding that no one is supporting these people, I decided to kick off the fertility loan. I remember that I talked directly to the chairman because I knew that the committee, there is a committee that accepts the new products, the new loans. They will refuse it. It has been refused by 3 CEOs before that. And I left the first bank because the CEO said, if you launch the fertility loan, you will consider yourself fired. I left the second bank because he said, I cannot accept such crazy ideas. Till I found the CEO. He studied in the UK, so that's why maybe he has, you know, an open mindset. He said, I love the idea. How are we going to do that? I said, that's the roadmap. That's what we're going to do. You just need to sign. By launching the fertility loan, Maria, I had in my office 167 radio, TV, magazine coming asking about the fertility loan. I remember when CNN called me, it was when I graduated, I saw a singing star in Lebanon on CNN. And that day I said, I wish one day I could be on CNN. So after a few years, CNN calls from Dubai, because it's their regional office, and they say, Mr. Mezher, this is Shams al-Wazir from CNN. I said, yes, Shams, how are you? I know you, you're from CNN. Said, we need to come and talk about the fertility loan. I said, give me a second. I need to check my diary. So I opened my agenda. It was a weekly agenda. Maria, I had 5 to 6 interviews on a daily basis. And look what I told CNN. That was a dream to me. I said, I'm sorry, this week I'm fully booked. Said, what? We're CNN. I said, you know, Shams, I have on a daily basis 5 to 6 interviews. Each interview is a minimum of 30 to 40 minutes. Plus, I need to work. I'm running all the branches. Said, but we are CNN. Can't you replace one of those local? I said, no, I cannot. I have to respect what I given as a promise. I remember that they came the week after. One more thing, and that's not to brag. That's to tell listeners what I'm going to tell as a message by the end of this podcast, is that if you have an idea and you believe in it, your life will change. I remember BBC, when they came to my office, they were sitting, when they finished filming, they said, you know, Maher, you know how we usually, what is the process to decide if we're going to film something, an idea or not? I said, no, how would I know? I'm a banker, never worked in broadcasting and production. Say we sit down and we talk, either on lunch or when we sit down to meet, and say, what are now the top stories in the world? They have a process. If we talk about the process more than 15 minutes, we say, stop, let's go film it. And that guy say, it was on a lunch break that we were sitting. Someone brought your idea, the fertility loan. We talked about it around 37 minutes, so the lunch break was done. And then we said, why are we still talking about it? Let's go and film it. What I'm trying to say is that, you know, my father and most of our parents wanted us to become lawyers, to become doctors, to become engineers, to have high grades, to study well. Well, I tell people today, This is important. But the most important is to have an idea, to believe in it, and launch it, because this will transform your life. A successful entrepreneur, like you name it, Jeff Bezos, Facebook, and all the others, entrepreneurs and innovators, look where they are now versus any director or CEO who had high grades. With all due respects, I was a director. I had high grades, good university, good education, and then you just have your salary. So now the new way of thinking, not because I'm an innovator and I teach innovation, is to have both. Have your education, have your good grades, but more than that, have an opportunity mindset, have an innovator mindset, come up with an idea, any idea, and then sell it. Have your own startup, have your own business. Even if you are an employee, sell it as an entrepreneur. This will really accelerate your career and your life.
Okay, so you're not encouraging people to leave, you're encouraging them to innovate within their role as an entrepreneur. We just want to check that because that's really important. That's amazing. I love that story. I've heard it before and I think it's fabulous. Congratulations on that. And that story, that innovation became a case study. You mentioned Philip Kotler. It actually became a case study in Philip Kotler's book, didn't it?
It is not any book, Maria. It is the textbook that I have studied, and all business students in the world study when they do business. It is the principles of marketing. It is a textbook used in all universities in the world. It is not a book that anyone can write. It is a book that all universities in the world study when they do their business studies or when they do their masters. So I can tell you now, because I came up with that idea, millions of students now every day, they are reading about my story. So it is a textbook. And after that, I was invited a few years after by Professor Kotler to speak at the World Summit. And now he invited me next year to be with him. And now we're looking forward to launch a peer-to-peer. So Professor Philip Kotler, who was like a legend to me when I was a student at university studying in his book, now he wants to have a peer-to-peer workshop, hopefully coming soon. You will know about it. So that's when you have an idea. When you have an idea, you believe in it, and you have the passion, the perseverance, and you take initiatives. Things will happen. You will go from here to here, and you will look at yourself, say, look, Professor Kotler, he came to me, throughout his office, said, Maher, now that you have seen your speech, had been viewed by millions of people, he wants to do with you a workshop. Professor Kotler is telling me, I'm half of his age, he's 91 years. I want to do a workshop with you. I was like, this is really crazy. This is the future. Innovation, transformation, leadership. This is the future.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. That's wonderful. It's wonderful that I studied his book too, but you weren't in it at that time because I studied it way before 2006. So yes,
I'm not going to ask you which year it was.
Yeah, no, don't. Yeah, no, don't. Yes, it's a bit of a blur, but that's pretty cool when you end up being invited by somebody that you admire. I do love that. I think that's wonderful. Only a couple more questions for you because I've taken a lot of your time, but you've recently been selected as a top 20 Asian entrepreneur by Partridge, part of the Penguin Publishing House, and they've put you into a book called Greater Than Success. Tell us about that. How did they choose these entrepreneurs? What is that about?
They had 4 or 5 criteria on entrepreneurs. They were looking at Asian entrepreneurs, that they have a business model, they have their own companies, and by applying those 5 criteria, they found that my business model, which is the Become An Innovators methodology with the app and my company, will be one of the most growing companies in my industry in the coming 5 to 8 years. So they had 2 types of entrepreneurs. The one that made great success financially, so they have built an empire, and the one that came up with a model and the technology, like me, the app, that is really promising, and that they think that what we have done is the future. So I was really delighted when I received an email, an official email, and then a call informing me that I was selected as one of the top 20 Asian entrepreneurs, they call it the most influential entrepreneurs. The book now is on Amazon. It's Greater Than Success, written by the author Firdaus Hamid. And they're working now on a movie. Now, why they did this? They want to inspire new entrepreneurs so they can learn from the 20 entrepreneurs what were the challenges that we had to overcome. Because people need to know that, yes, I'm pushing them to think about something, make it different, believe in it, and take initiative. But I promise it's not going to be also that easy. It's not a click of a button. It's not a walk in the park. But when you have the passion that we talk about, then you will pursue what you are doing. So they want us to inspire entrepreneurs, how we did overcome challenges, how we made it successful, and what is the advice that we give to young entrepreneurs. And now they are working on, the book is there on Amazon. They are working on a movie where they will interview us so we can share our story.
Fantastic. I look forward to that. Listen, we've come to the end. What would you like to leave our audience thinking about?
I would tell them, don't strive to be a genius. Become an innovator.
Oh, that's good. I like that. Very strong message. Maher, I hope you've enjoyed yourself. It's flown past in terms of time. I really appreciate it. Hope you've enjoyed it.
I did. Thanks a lot. I'm privileged to you.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you, everybody, also for listening to The Speaker Show. And if you've enjoyed this episode, please leave a rating on Apple Podcasts. And you can keep up with future episodes on the Speakers Associates website, which is speakersassociates.com, or your favorite podcast app. And if you would like to invite Maher to speak at your next conference or event, please get in touch with Speakers Associates in plenty of time to book him so that you won't be disappointed. And I will see you all next week. So bye-bye for now. Thank you.